morning, everybody.
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Sean. Good morning, Robin. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning. We're going to dive right in and start today. We are really excited to be sharing our next series on this Designing for a Just World, Claiming the Past to Move Us Forward. I'm really excited to have Robin Beers joining us again from Wells Fargo, leading design and insights there. And our other special guest with us today, Cheryl D. Miller, which has an incredibly rich history in this space around designers. Just a couple reminders to the group. First off, if you have not downloaded the one-pager that we created, there's some great statistics that our team has been working on with Robin, in particular around diversity in design. So a great one-pager with statistics and then a challenge. Those of you that have been on these with us before, we give a challenge at the end to walk through. Remember that this webinar is recorded. So if you have friends that cannot be on here or you want to send this to somebody, go to disruptorleague.com and you can, tomorrow, the video will be out there. The one-pager's out there right now. And you can send people to those links. And there's probably going to be a lot of links and references and resources shared today by Robin and Cheryl. And we'll have all of that available for you. Additionally, remember, we have the chat function and the Q&A function. If you would like to ask questions, please use the Q&A function. But in the chat function is where you will see us putting references to links as the panelists share about it, as we talk about it. And the Q&A function, I'll be watching as we go through today. So again, it's really exciting to have this series going on in this time, in this age that we're living in around diversity. And one of the things I want to share with you, for those of you with the one-pager and the episode notes this week, is we're referencing a survey that was done in 2019 by the AIGA Design Census. Where there was 9,429 participants. And in particular, want to call out, you know, Cheryl's done some great work we're going to talk about, but still, even in 2019, only 3% of designers were Black African Americans. So still this huge gap when you look at the gap in really ethnicity around design and designers in the workplace today. So again, really excited to have you here today. I'm actually going to be doing more of the co-hosting and plugging in. I'm going to actually turn this over to Robin to share around Cheryl's background and introduce Cheryl as we dive into three themes today. So Robin, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. And yes, I'm thrilled to be bringing this episode of Disruptors Connection to all of you so that you learn about the work and legacy of Cheryl D. Miller. I met Cheryl just about a month ago based on, I think, a post that she made on LinkedIn that led me to her work, which centers on, partially centers on the question, where are the Black designers? And so she has a great legacy in highlighting Black designers. She has an amazing archive of work that Stanford University reached out to her for. And I am not going to be able to do her story justice. So Cheryl, I would like for you to tell your incredible story and orient the audience to the great work that you've done.
Okay, listen, first off, guys, it's really, really great to be with you. We've got a time allotment, and I'm going to try to give you a synopsis in the first segment of intro time. And, I'm happy to say that I've got a Wikipedia. And so if there's any questions, you can look there. And of course, I'm Googleable, and so all of the links. And one of the things that I try to do, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to do it, but one of the things our community hasn't had is a whole lot of mentorship and people to help us through this. For me, it's been a lifetime scenario. And so when people find me, I stop immediately, okay? And I really do. Can I talk to you? And I'm like, yeah, right away, because I can't put you on a calendar.
I found you on LinkedIn. 10 minutes later, we were on the phone, so I can attest to that.
Right, I deal with it right. I'm a right now lady, okay? And so, because I can't remember too many things out into the future, and I'm still learning Calendary and Lee and all the technology, Google Calendar and all that. Just look, let's talk right now. So with that said, with that said, I thank everybody and the interest with this. Long story short, I'm a legacy visual artist. I've been at this since I was 3 years old. Won my first award when I was 10, and you know, found my way on the cover of the Washington Post. Started college touring the day Martin Luther King was assassinated. Washington was burning. Oh my God, it was terrible. And I had planned all these trips. I applied to 3 art schools, and I said, Papa, we going? He says, yep, we're still going. And so with that said, I landed at Rhode Island School of Design in 1970. Unfortunately, my father passed away 2 weeks before my sophomore year. I was to return to Providence. And I had, my mom was young, and I had a younger brother. And so I said, you know what, the dean's called, and I, you know, without hesitation, Micah picked me up, and I finished there. I had a full broadcast design career in Washington, D.C. All of the affiliate networks I worked with. And my last wonderful opportunity before coming to New York, I was on the startup team for Howard University's launch of their PBS station, which was a great accomplishment for them. And I was on the startup team. I did, you know, I put in the art department and created their branding and things. And then I got, I was sharing with Robin, I'm a corporate credit card industry wife all the entire career. And next thing I know, my husband and I landed in New York City. And I've been coaching designers since 1974. And when my designers, I hate using mentee, mentor. They're just my friends who I'm in front of them. That's about it. You know, I've given them everything I've had to give. And one of the things that we're coaching and sharing with them now, since 74, are you thinking about your retirement plan? Okay, because if you're 10, 15 years out from early retirement, which, you know, you'll start getting those notifications, you need to have had a plan. And that's not always so easy if you've been of color in this, you know, in this journey. So a lot of my coaching now for my older friends has been, you know, come on, let's look ahead. And so one of my youngest ones that I'm so proud of is Professor Robin Lynch. And, you know, I met her in 1974 and at Howard University. She got her BFA there, and I encouraged her. She finished out, you know, she got into Yale MFA and had a full New York career. And now she's a professor, you know, of visual arts. I like to shout out Black designers when I can. And so that's an example of how long I've been at this. My own career, we found our way to New York City. And I, you know, being a corporate wife, I didn't know how long I would be in one place. All right. So I made one early faux pas, which you have to catch another interview there on YouTube, what to do to get into New York and what not to do. Okay. So I did a big, oh no, getting into New York, but I recovered. And the long story of that is I had an opportunity to be, right-handed to me to be lead artist, what they call lead artist for ABC Local. And it was like everybody around me, Cheryl, take the job, take the job, take the job. And I really didn't realize that changing markets, that I would have to step back to punt. And so I wasn't impressed with the salary. I wasn't impressed with the title. And the next thing I know, it threw me on the streets of New York City. Okay. And that's where I learned the industry. So honestly, if I had kind of gone with ABC, I would probably, you know, have a big, some type of retirement package. I would have thought about myself. I wouldn't have, I wouldn't have gotten out here on the field doing what I'm doing, but I learned New York City, and I learned the design community. And so that's what's brought us here. It was my graduate work from Pratt. I said, I didn't know how long I would be in the city, so let me get my graduate work done. And my infamous Pratt thesis, I was challenged to make a contribution to the industry. I've always believed that I've had a little gift for talent with design. And so they stretched me. It's like, Miller, no design project for you. That's gonna be too easy. So make a contribution. I got some cross readers, worked on scholarship, wrote about sociology, college, culture, anthropology. I threw a lot of stuff in and created some scholarship, which is what's really important. That's what moved this forward, is that there had been previous discussions, especially with the industry, but I think the fact that I had a piece of scholarship is what moved the needle at that time. And I got published with print, and I want to shout out to print. As we speak, I'm hoping to deliver my last article on this. It's Black Designers Found in Action. I wrote for them in 1987. I wrote for them in 2016. And during this season, so much is happening and so many changes that we worked together to come up with Black Designers Found in Action. And with that said, I'm hoping to upload the article, by Monday, and it will be the trilogy, and I'm going to drop the mic and let you guys put me in the history book, and I'll do Zooms, and that'll be it. But honestly, I stepped on the campus of Rhode Island School of Design in 1970, and I've been doing this, in the stories behind the racism and things that I experienced before I got to college. 50 years around this rodeo. And I always tell the kids, just I don't drink or smoke or anything. I'm on hope with no dope. Two cups of espresso, and I can just go. I'm with everybody, okay? I run faster. I'm just as smart and astute. I can still design, and God knows I can still talk. So keep me on point.
Okay,
Robin. I was going to actually ask the first poll question because and we're really excited. I didn't realize the article was coming out on Monday.
No. I'm uploading. I'm trying to upload and get it.
You're trying to upload. Okay.
Yeah. So my last comments, which are like, oh my God,
Yeah.
Listen, don't take me down on Twitter, but I'm going to tell you guys the truth.
Awesome. So we have a few poll questions, and then we'll let Robin jump into theme one. But the first poll question, really just around here, is, I work in design or non-design. So I am a designer. So chat and design discipline, or working closely. I work closely with designers, or not a designer, or work closely at all with designers. So we want to put that out there so we know. But Robin, why don't we, while people are answering that, why don't we jump into the next 7 minutes around theme number one, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you. So Cheryl, you just started to wade into this territory a moment ago that you've been doing this activism and this work for a long time. Is this moment different that we're in today? What is similar about this moment that we're in for racial justice broadly, Black designers specifically? How does the past inform the present, and how is the present different?
Well, where we are different is that we have the pandemic, which has us at complete attention, all right? And my point of differentiation between the first rodeo, which is the civil rights movement, and now, is that I have a captive audience. We don't have anything to do except to go to every Zoom, read every post, make all the comments, and become aware. And we have social technology that has just zoomed the platform of this advocacy that, my peers and I back then, we started, again, it was my scholarship that took flight to being trade published, and I became a trade writer, which gave me voice. But this has been going on a long time. So what's changed is now we have allies, because And we have people who see design as an avenue to express protest. And we have a community that wants to help and see and understand. But we've been there. I've been voicing this since 1987 and started being disenfranchised and treated poorly from the time, I hit RISD's campus, 1970. I mean, I can't believe it. And so I landed there and they brought in 40, well, I don't want to focus in on their history, but, they had a backstory in the spring of 1970 that prompted them to bring in a cadre of, then it was just, they called it the Minority Recruitment Program. And about 40 of us came in. And only thing that I can say is the first thing I don't remember was the admissions officer or the welcoming, the welcome wagon. They put us in freshman dorm in the lounge. And the lady looked at us and said, half of y'all aren't gonna be here.
Yeah.
I'm like, welcome, welcome to RISD. Half of you all aren't gonna make it. And I'm like, you might be right. If that's the way we're gonna be treated, okay. So with that said, since I've been on this and the publishing an article, you do the subtraction on that 1987 to 2020, what has happened is a slow moving of the advocacy for justice and design for my community. But where we are is this perfect storm of the universe is forcing us to look at this across a lot of disciplines in life, the injustices. And the design community has found a way at large, everyone has found a way to join us as protests. So, many don't want to go out, in March. And so many have found us and really kind of get it. So it's ally relationship. It's a season of reparation. And I keep telling my community, listen, guys, this is the way this happened in the civil rights era. I said, after Martin Luther King got assassinated, there were reparations. It was a season of reparation. I said, don't think anything of it. It's gonna move a needle. Okay, and all of the Ivy League schools opened up. Okay, so, I mean, they really opened up wide. They came down into urban areas. We all got letters of invitation. One of my claim to fame, I could have been Hillary Clinton's classmate. Okay, Wellesley wanted me and I went to RISD. So with that said, these things are happening, change happens. And so it broadened our community. So now that, much of it has gone viral, we can stop asking the question, where are the Black designers? And in this article, I'm here to tell you where they are. We're formidable, active, and we do have challenges that we're hoping the broader community of graphic design and all manner of disciplines of design at this point now will take action to help a community that has been disenfranchised since I can remember. Okay, I can remember. And I can remember, I might be mid-century, but like I said, 2 espressos and I can remember it all.
So I'd love to hear a little bit more about, your scholarship is why Stanford University reached out to you to create an archive of your work.
Yeah. The scholarship was interesting because a young scholar in one of their professional scholarship programs, Michael Grant, he found this Pratt thesis, which I had no idea had taken a life of its own. I really didn't realize that after it was published as a feature article, I didn't know that it really just went across disciplines. There were annotations from engineering. This piece of one scholarship crossed a lot of disciplines, and he wanted to read the original Pratt thesis. And so he went to the library and he asked Regina Roberts, who is one of the directors of the library, special collections specifically, in her own disciplines, to find the thesis. And so she went hunting for it and she found it at Pratt, and Pratt gave her a one-time usage and copyright to put it in Michael's hands for his scholarship. So he took it to his class, and then the class wanted to read it. And that required Regina getting to put it in the Stanford repository. So a scholars group could read it, she had to find me. The story that you can Google it, Cheryl D. Miller Stanford.
I love the video.
Yeah,
I watched the video, and all of the boxes, you know,
boxes.
it's a miracle that you had all of your work.
Unbelievable, because
it's
you
a
know,
great video.
I knew that I was doing important work from the time I was a kid, so I just saved everything. You know,
That's
it's
so
like
great.
when you know that you have you're the only one, or you know you have first rights branding like Coca-Cola, you know. And I've known that since I was a kid. I just put it in a box, had a ledger, and saved absolutely everything. And so when she came for me for the copyright permission, she just said, just like she says in the video, she's like, "Ms. Miller, what else you have?" I said, "Funny you should ask," because my husband said,
you were born for this. You were born to have an archive.
Yeah, my husband said, "Cheryl, when we moved out, you know, out of New York City to raise our family," he said, "Do we have to move this again?" I said, "Well, if it hasn't found a home, yeah, we're going to move it again." And see, one of the things that I did, which is really important, is that not only did I save all of my documentation, all the writings, all the drafts, all the interviews, but in terms of the work, the portfolio, I purchased back then a minimum of 250 to 1,000 copies of every printed sample. And so I had this incredible volume archive of complete finished work that I had been saving. All right, so they came and took everything. And one of the things that I try to in every interview, people really want to know the qualitative difference. Like, what in the world did you do, Miller? Well, I knew business, and that's the key. So in New York, if you're performing, you can't be in New York if you're not a good designer. So that's your platform. New York will send you home on the Amtrak in a minute. And back then it was Greyhound. Yeah, right back then it was Trailways or Greyhound. You found yourself to the station and you were gone. You come up and you couldn't make it in 3 weeks, and your parents are like, "Get back home from wherever you came." Okay. And so the only way that this is the survival of the fittest. And so part one is you got to be a good designer in New York. That's it. So after that,
and you have to know business.
Yes. And that's what I had. Okay. I still have the ability to understand that I'm involved in a business to business service. And maybe it's because I'm a corporate wife, you know, and we worked on his MBA at my dining room table together. Yeah. Maybe it is I just understood, you know, I just understood business. I still understand business. And that's the key. I understand it. And I was able to find my niche, which is why I tell all young designers, everybody has a very special gift. Everybody has a talent. You have got to find the problem, identify the problem, and be bold enough to arrive and say that you're a solution. Don't wait on, you know, seeing the job post. Okay, I'm the solution to this problem. And so you've got to show up and say, you know what, you know, and with diversity, don't get me going. I mean, there are things I tell the kids now that corporations are making incredible design and diversity faux pas. You know, if I were practicing or, you know, a real advisor, I would be saying, guys, did you see Twitter and Black Twitter and Hispanic, Latino Twitter? They took you down. You rolled out this project. You didn't know what you're doing. And then,
absolutely.
You know, what did we do wrong?
So okay. That is going to get us into our next theme, but let's pause for a moment and look at the poll results. Who's on the webinar today?
So look at that. So we have almost 22% are designers on here. 56% work closely with designers. So almost 80% here. And I think this is a great segue because I know theme 2, Robin talks about, you know, what this can do to the youth movement, and then I actually have a great question that's come up. So I think this next theme for us, Cheryl, is around you giving advice, right? And building how you can, between both generations, work together to create a new future. So I love this question. What are your thoughts about how we can best reflect on what matters and rebound with a compelling future more, and how can you be part of it? So if you're giving this advice, you know, and bridging the gap between both generations, and like you said, you're entering your drop the mic moment. So who's going to be the Cheryl D. Miller after you drop the mic, right? and pick the mic back up. I think it may be Robin for a little. But what are your thoughts and how do you best reflect on that? And like, what's your one piece of great advice you can give people and young designers, 25% on here, moving into this future?
Well, first off, looking at the poll, just, in my moment, I can always talk to designers. I want to look at the middle one. You got to work with us. All right. And begins one of the problems. Working with you. Yeah. There's the problem right there. The designers can find me. Okay. I'll talk to them all day long on Instagram and LinkedIn. They're like, go Miller, go Miller. Okay. I don't need to talk to them. I need to talk to the middle ground, the 53% of you that have to work with us.
I love that.
You have to hire us. You have to give us a chance. You have to advance us. Okay. And I'm tipping them off. Okay. Trust me. I told you I was corporate. I know business. So like behind the scenes when I'm talking, I'm coaching them. I'm saying, okay, guys, you have these corporate jobs or you have a corporate client. I said, this is business to business. I said, get on the phone and listen to the HR call-ins for the week. Watch the newsletters. Listen when the CEO has his fireside chat. Call in. You get the notices. And when your boss's boss gets tiered, get out. Okay? And so they're like, really?
Be organizationally savvy is what you're saying.
Yeah. They're like, really? I said, yeah, don't watch your boss. Listen to the conferences. When the shifts at the top, learn your structure. When your boss's boss gets tiered, start looking. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, because if you're still looking there at the design department or the creative department, and then all of a sudden the whole ship closes down, you're like, what happened? Mm-hmm. But see, where we need help is that the mentors know that. Like, Robin, you know that for your team.
So that's very interesting. We've been having some very candid conversations inside of Wells Fargo with Black African-American employees. And one of the themes that's really emerged is a theme of loneliness, isolation, and not having a sponsor, not having a mentor. Because what you're talking about is teaching people how to be savvy about navigating an organization.
Right. But I'm also charging you, because I see the poll, that if I've just told my community to watch your boss's boss, and that you're watching your boss.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's...
Wait a minute. I told you, don't call me if you don't want the truth.
Yeah, no.
And so right there, Robin, my charge is to your line, your organization, your department, and you are calling in and hearing.
Yes.
And with that, who are you looking out for? See, that's mentorship. So when you shift where you go, if you get tiered, you're going to take your friends in who has supported your back. Look, this goes on and on. This is how corporate works. So the charge is, if I'm looking at this poll group, I'm looking at management, SVPs, I'm looking at this level, EVPs, okay, and these shifts happen at the top when we, and you call in, you hear, and and listen, and you learn to listen. Come on now, you learn to listen to the administrative assistants, you listen in the cafeteria, you listen, okay, and you're watching. So what I charge the 53 who are listening to me is take care of somebody. While everybody's tipping you off and emailing you, and you're watching and calling in and reading the new emails, and you're calling into the, weekly, monthly State of the Union from corporate, you're seeing and reading the corporate tea leaves, then mentorship to me is who you're looking at your team. Who can you trust? Who have you trusted?
Yes.
To lift you up. The charge is look down in your team and take care of that person too. Or they're going to be out on Instagram and LinkedIn asking me, oh, Cheryl, what can I do? No.
Yeah.
So when I look at the poll number, Robin, it's you.
You're absolutely right. No, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Sean,
What can you do? Who are you watching over? And that doesn't mean it's the only one or anybody on your team, but we're overlooked. We don't have that savvy. We can't see that Google sitemap. We can't see it, but you are. You are. And so I charge you and everybody that sits at your conference table, everybody you go on a business trip with, everybody who flies with you, who used to fly with you, now we have to wear a mask, everybody you catch the Uber with, just charge one action. And that is, okay, guys, did you hear that call?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that person over there? You know.
And who are you? And what are you good at? And what do you want for your career?
Right. So just saying, I'm taking you with me. And taking you with me is, I only need you to do that for one. I didn't say everybody, okay? Any action is going to help. And that's a mentor. Just don't call me about how to put together a portfolio online and just
don't call me about that here.
No. You can find a good Google search, you can find that. It's you behind the scenes, 53%.
Yeah. Sean, trying to make a comment.
Well, we're fired up. We're fired up and our time's running short already. It's like, but I think what you're talking about, Cheryl, and one of my business partners, Michael, he will get, some mornings he'll wake up when we're traveling and we don't do it as much, but he'll say to me, Sean, no new best friends today. No new best friends. Like, give me a day where you don't make a new best friend. But listen, Cheryl, what you were saying.
Your best friend. You mean you make
you were? You are my best friend too, Rob. But to that 53% and to the 22% that don't even work with designers, and I love this, Bill, you made a comment about earning stakeholder relevance. Listen, I am an example. I sit where I am today of exactly the principle you're teaching here, Cheryl. I had an executive who saw something in me, who took a chance in me and invested in me. And when that shift happened, that executive gave me advice on what to do next. And when that shift happened, that person left that organization, he said, you need to leave the organization, right? And 11 years later, I've been shifting with him.
Exactly.
For 11 years.
Exactly.
My company exists today because I shifted. One day he said to me, Sean, you are too disruptive to be in corporate America. They can't handle you. You need to start your company. I went, I don't know how to start a company. It's okay. We're going to sit down over a 2-hour lunch and I'm going to teach you how to start a company, because he was an entrepreneur. Right. And I love where you're going with this principle. And I know, we're trying to, this diversity in design. For me, that is, find that person, find that one, right? Find that two, bring along the journey with you. That also to make a difference.
That also applies to business. You know your projects, okay? You know your projects, you know your budgets, and you call your friends. You keep calling your friends, okay? So if you're gonna do branding for a new card or whatever you're launching, look, there's not a lot about this you can't tell me. And I know you pick up the phone and you call, okay, who's your media person, who's of this, who's of that, and you got to break it up. So in the few 6 degrees of separation, look outside of your network for business and call somebody else.
Absolutely. And I think that's, one thing that white people, white leaders need to do is broaden our professional and social network. If you're, the people that you hang out with are all looking like you, then we're not going to change this, 3% Black designer metric to be more representative of the population.
Well, it's bigger than that, okay? I mean, just to have 5%, you've got to find value for why you should do this, okay? And it starts with, you know what? I hate to tell you guys the truth.
Please do.
There are, according to the Census and Pew records, and you can Google this, there are more white deaths than births. So, and it all comes down to business. Mm-hmm. There are more mixed race babies than white babies. Your marketplace is already here.
Exactly.
Why do you think Mattel has all of a sudden come up with a whole line of every kind of Barbie you can imagine? Barbie is Starbucks with a latte and a squirt and everything you want her to be. If they kept making 1959 Barbies, that's the only Barbie I had in the black and white, blonde, white, and black and white stripe. And if you're fortunate to have one with a letter B on her backside, she's worth $15,000 on eBay. And I'm sorry, the white lens cannot see. I don't know what it is. And I don't even know that you can be trained to see. It's in the DNA, it's in the genealogy. It's not a positive or negative. It's just the honest to God truth.
Absolutely.
You can see, you can't see I don't mean to be, you can't see past titanium white on a painting. You can't. Mm-hmm. And it's very hard when you try. So you need advisors, you need other lenses, you need other practitioners. So you don't make mistakes like you mix up Patti LaBelle for Aretha Franklin, and Aretha Franklin isn't dead yet, okay? She's still in a coffin in Chicago, and you're putting up, you're putting up somebody else's picture on the front of the newspaper. Oh, I'm like, come on, guys, you can't see. So acknowledge you can't see the difference between Patti LaBelle and Aretha Franklin. That's okay. That's really okay.
Have someone check it.
Sometimes, honestly, sometimes all of y'all with a blonde ponytail, I can't tell the difference either. We're here to be friends. And you got to find something like, oh, well, let me look at her hair, her eyes. I'm going to remember, and look to the soul. Look to the soul. Because if you don't stop and pay attention to your relationships and who you're with, you're going to miss a whole world. Okay, mm-hmm. That you only say in New York, oh, well, which cuisine are we going to? We're going, we're going to La Familia, or we're going to the Mediterranean. That's about it. The menu that you can't even go and sit there now. Okay, so what I'm saying with you is this is a community, globalization and a reach. We need every eye to see and to be able to juxtapose these mistakes, because at some point, no one has done the research for how all these faux pas happen on Monday morning. Okay, that's a thesis project, okay? Yeah. So it will take you down, but what does that look like? You roll that Nike product out. I'm just calling that. You roll that, mm-hmm. You roll that t-shirt out. You roll that
Pepsi commercial.
Right, yeah. You made a mistake. No one, you were working in a vacuum, okay? And you offended a whole community of people. Look at what's going on with all this rebranding. Did you really ask? Did you really do your brand work? Okay, you can't work in a vacuum. So, I mean, Land O'Lakes is down, Aunt Jemima is down. Oh my God, Uncle Ben, oh, he's gone back down south. I mean, you need help to see these things, because yes. At some point, your board is going to look at you.
Irrelevant.
We're losing money, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So you can hog this space if you want, or you can realize that the next generation of Barbie doll purchasers don't look like anything of the ones that you just did, 1959 white Barbie with a ponytail and a black and white swimsuit. Okay, and even Crayola, they are rebranding. They're rebranding crayons. Mm-hmm. Look, my mother's from the islands. God bless her. She has a saying: "Man, you just can't take the cream out of the coffee after it's been stirred." Yeah. Like it or not, America is blended.
Yes.
It's the melting
Yeah.
pot. And you've got some facts. You have some facts that you've got to deal with in business.
So,
And,
I love that.
and so that doesn't mean that
let's
it doesn't mean that you're not to the table. See, that's where we are. You guys want to fear the loss of power and money. You know, that's the last question. I'll wait for you to ask me another question. Don't fear.
So that's right. So here, we actually only have about 3 or 4 minutes. So I'm going to make you answer this one fast because I think you were going there with this. So what is one roadblock? And this is going to be hard for you. I can already tell, sure. Right? Well, to do this in 3 minutes, right? What is one roadblock to this diversity and design industry, and how do we overcome it?
Your fear. And Prince Harry, you can Google him just last week on CNN. Fear of loss of power and your white privilege. So you haven't had to deal with this. But see, what's going to happen, Robin, is don't make a faux pas and put the wrong person on your brochure or you forgot somebody. Mm-hmm. Upstairs, and then all of a sudden you'll be looking, call Cheryl Miller. Who she know? Or even call Cheryl Miller up out of the grave to design.
The Olivia Pope of design, Cheryl D. Miller.
She's our new Olivia Pope. I love it.
The fixer.
Right.
Yeah, the fixer.
Right. So get a team to help you now and don't be afraid. Nobody's coming for your job. If you do your job, your friends are going to take care of you. I'm just asking, let other people be your friends and you take care of them. Okay, listen, this is how this is. Do not be afraid. Do not resist. Because the worst case you want to have happen, let me tell you about these new designers. Don't play around with them. Don't play around with them. This Generation Z, and now they've got other names. They're no longer Black. I'm the poster child for them. They're BIPOCs, and you better learn about them. I got 4 grandparents, 4 different races, and I was the poster child back in the mid-century with this. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you is, they are smarter. They're fierce. They're more astute. They've got more education. Okay, they are a team of Williams sisters to tennis. And this is not the generation coming up to disenfranchise. This is not. Why? Because first off, they're gonna articulate you out of this, through this. What you want is they're smart. And you cannot erase them. You must give them credit. You cannot put them on these teams and don't recognize them. You will get called out. You will get called out. And at this point, the whole climate is sensitive, and you talk about top tier coming for you. So what I'm sharing with you is that, they got their own system of the Urban League and NAACP, and they're just absolutely not having it. So I look at some of the stuff that's going on now, and I said, I wish you guys had read 1987, but you know why you didn't read me in 1987? The article was in the back of the book, and you're so busy looking at all of the icons, the historians, and all your worship design people. And my story is kind of in the middle and back. I'm not going to read about Black folks. The second book, the story is kind of in the back and the back. And now the story is up front.
Mm-hmm.
And
Cheryl,
what I want us to do is to end this, to end it.
Yeah.
And you can help us. You can honestly help us by, first off, becoming aware. And don't be afraid. Yeah. That's the biggest thing. Everybody wants their BMW, their house, and they don't go to Starbucks when they want. That is the American dream. You cannot sit on the American dream and disenfranchise a community that has been there, that you've refused to acknowledge since way before. And then something, I was on a call last night, and I'm going to leave you, and I can come back. If you love me, I can come back. I was on a history call last night, and I realized everything is so Eurocentric and Anglo-centric design, the way it's been taught in corporate America. Everything is on that grid system. And I was watching a history, and I know my Black design history, okay? Trust me, I know it. And I don't want to announce it now. I'm going to be on a huge summit. I got a big history of Black graphic design announcement to make. You're going to have to follow me over to the summit. But my point is that there are other design and typographic systems, okay? And it's just not from the German and Swiss men. So all due respect for the look of corporate America, there is decolonization of the educational process and design systems and understanding that are being recognized. And so the fear, do we really have to put away the Swiss grid system? Well, no, it's a system of organization. But don't deny a person who can manipulate it and design just as well, just because they don't look Scandinavian. Okay, so I'm gonna leave you there. Don't be afraid. Let's go. Let's do it.
This is powerful.
This is powerful. We're gonna close out. And when you were going there, I didn't have one around me, Cheryl, but I felt like I had my white hanky moment, like you were preaching it. You know, I grew up in a church with the white hankies, right? And so just a couple things to the group as we close out. First off, yeah, Cheryl, we'll figure out, we're gonna have you back. And I loved your staying there, Robin, the Olivia Pope, right, of design. She's our fixer. So Cheryl, within our Disruptor League, I can't wait to have you get more involved with us in what we do. For those of you that downloaded the episode notes, there was steps to increase diversity in design, and we gave a challenge at the end of it where we said, commit to taking at least one of these steps above. There's 10 of them. And use the space below to write or draw your plan to put those steps into action. And then share with us using the hashtag Disruptor Connection. So please make sure to do that. We want to give information to Cheryl, even though she's having her drop the mic moment coming very soon, and passing this. In my world, Cheryl, and you'll appreciate this, I believe you're passing the mantle and the anointing on to somebody else now. And what's exciting about this is you just started to crack open something we're diving into. The very next Disruptor Connection on Friday, July 31st is still part of the Healing the Divide series, but it's called Blowing Up Diversity and Inclusion. And we at Mofi, I'm a little bit of a crazy guy. We're going to have, her name is Dr. Kalichi, and I can never say her last name right, and I always call her Dr. Kalichi Yu. She's going to be on with us. She's done a podcast with us, and we're actually on the 31st. We'll have our new report out on how we at Mofi. I am tired of diversity and inclusion. I'm tired of this diversity and design conversation as being a checkbox thing versus an action thing. And moving, we've been, even this week, so I'm really excited and passionate around all this, moving from mindsets to heart sets. And that's what you're talking about. We've got to get out of this mindset, which is fear, into this heart set of complete embrace and move forward and take this whole industry along. So again, we've dropped the link in there for that. There's a survey. We're over about 5 minutes, but Cheryl, thank you so much for your 50 years and not giving up. Not giving up on this. I know.
Still look great.
You didn't give up, and your voice has been heard and is going to be heard for years to come. I don't think you realize the power you're going to have in the design world in this future. And Robin,
this is legacy work.
It's legacy work, right? And I know Robin and I have become a kindred spirit, and we're going to help champion this legacy work in this field of design and in this field. So thank you so much. We love you. And most important, I can't wait to meet you in person and sit and have dinner with you and be able to talk and just take this in. So thank you to everyone that's been on this with us today, and we'll see you on Friday, July 31st. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
Cheryl. Thank you, Sean.